for companies that used to work out of an office, something that influenced time to ramp was learning by osmosis, right? If you think of an SDR, they're sitting around other SDRs and BDRs, they're hearing them, they're seeing how they operate, and that would have an impact. So now that we are in a virtual environment, are you noticing that the lack of learning by osmosis has had an impact on the time to ramp? And are there any things that you suggest companies can do that can help accelerate time to ramp without learning by osmosis being available?
Yeah, so there are four teams that I oversee. So, starting with what I'll call maybe less complex to more complex. And so SDRs, account executives, onboarding folks, and customer success managers. And in our case, the customer success managers and onboarding folks tend to be more complex because it's a domain knowledge challenge. They're dealing with principals, school district leaders, and they need to be very credible from a US system education knowledge perspective. Otherwise, they lose that client buy-in. And so where we found it more challenging is on the customer success side, where the domain knowledge is a big hump to overcome. What we've done there is we've introduced a buddy system. And so, we've done a pretty good job overall of being async friendly. So, our onboarding, we always had Trello boards with very specific, documents to go through, decks, calls to review. We set them up with calls to shadow ahead of time. With other reps, we set them up with meetings with different team members. So their first week, week and a half to 2 weeks is usually pretty well booked up with all of these activities. And so the two things we've done is one, increase the frequency of check-ins with their managers. So kind of once a day or twice a day, 15 minutes, like, hey, how did it go? What did you learn? What can we improve or address over the next few days? And the second thing is that buddy system. So they have someone that can help guide them through that. Where we found it to be less of an issue is on the SDR end of the spectrum. So time to ramp hasn't been that increased from what we've noticed. But we also have added some things that are more just COVID related. Like we started doing shared call blocks. Early on, we used a tool called Rally, where you can be on video together, and take turns making pair calling, and so you give each other feedback real time, and that helped a lot. And so when we had new people join, we had some of those things already built where that helped with the ramp time. So they are, there's osmosis you create even though you're not in that office environment.
That's really cool. That is quite fascinating. Have you baked in the longer time to ramp into your modeling on the CS side? Now it's been baked in, so we're there yet? Okay, great, fantastic.
I think it's just small sample size, so we'll have to see.
So we'll see in a bit. Okay.
Can I just jump in for 1 second? Because I think something that's really interesting, like it's interesting that you said that it makes sense that you said that the CS team was having the most difficult time because CS, often sales is going to be distributed anyways, right? We often have sales reps who, are field sales or are not in the office, but CS has traditionally been remote by calling customers anyway. So their transition to that should be easier. But you're right, they usually sit together. And what's missing is that tribal knowledge and storytelling. I think the buddy system is really cool. What I want to encourage everyone to do, it's something actually we did at Eloqua like way back in the day. We started this thing, it's called Club SM. And if anyone here is from, anyone's joining from Eloqua, you'll know what I'm talking about. We called it Club SM, by the way, because we used to be called solutions managers before customer success became a thing. And so we did this, and so every Friday or the last Friday of the month, we would all like grab drinks and we would hang out and we would tell stories. It was all about storytelling, and it got so big and so effective that development wanted, like dev wanted to join and sales wanted to join. And we called people who were remote on Blackberries on speakerphone, like just and passed around the phone. So people who were remote could hear the storytelling. And that is what's so critical now that we're all remote is let's make sure that we have storytelling time and we continue this tribal knowledge, because that actually creates a lot of the DNA of the company and helps, that successful piece.